All right, what's going on, guys? So as you can see, we're in a little bit of a different setting than the last video, and I'm gonna explain that. So a lot actually happened from the last video to now. In the first video, we were in my garage at my family's house, and that's where I was filming the video. And that's kind of where I planned for most of the videos to go down, but due to some events that came up that I just couldn't pass up, I actually moved location. So where I live and where my family's garage was, it was about 35 minutes away. Between going to school and where I live and driving there, it was way too hectic. There was too much time involved in, you know, just travel back and forth. I wasn't getting as much on the car done as I really wanted to. So with that being said, I got an opportunity to get a shot with Julio, and I took it. So I'm gonna show you the new shop. Don't have like super high expectations, but this is it. So this is the new shop. It is a 20 by 20 unit. They don't care about oil. They don't care about, you know, how late we're here. They don't care about burnouts, drifting. They don't care. I talked to the guy on the phone, and I told him, you know, what I was really looking for and, you know, what would be going down here. And he was like, dude, that's awesome. He was excited to have the cars in here. He was excited to be able to provide us a space for it. So this is just, it was a no-brainer to do. We're paying close to nothing a month between the both of us. And even more conveniently, if you come out onto this road and you make a left, right there is my school. So it was just super convenient. Julio lives 5 minutes away from here. I live 10 minutes away from here. It was a no-brainer. So as you can see, I got my car here. My car is all in the shop. And then there's this car. So this is a Mark IV Golf. It's a 4-door car. It originally had a 2.0 8-valve engine, and as you can see, it now does not. So this is actually Julio's car. We've been meaning to really get to his car, but for being at his house and not having an enclosed structure to work on it between all the elements of being on the East Coast, it got really hard to do that. So with this shop, we were able to bring his car here, and now we can work on his car. This car has some really big plans, and I'm excited to actually shoot some content on this car and my car as well. So in other news, talking about big life events, did you figure that out?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right, so in bigger life news, spring school semester. Don't know if it's gonna happen. I wasn't aware of when registration was. I didn't get an email, I didn't get anything. I figured it would have been later than it was. And by the time I finally checked in to see, like, yo, when is registration, it turns out that, oh, you probably can't see me. It's probably a really bad shot. I'm gonna stay over here. When I tried to find out when registration was, registration had opened like a month or two beforehand. So when I went in to go try to find classes, almost nothing was left. So I'm on a wait list for all of my classes. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I'm praying that it does, because I'd really like to graduate sooner than later. But you know, if it doesn't, I'll take it day by day. On another news, Julio had quit his job where he was working previously. He's now found a new job, but in between his start date and when he quit, there is a period of time in which he's not working, which is awesome, because then he can work on his car. And now that school's letting out, I'll be able to come here. We'll be able to get a lot done. I've had some struggles with the car, which I'm going to go over in a few minutes. So that's why it's still on jack stands and it's not moving, it's not rolling, and unfortunately there's no like driving content. But there should be driving content soon. So I'm just going to go ahead and explain as to why there hasn't been any driving content and some problems that I'm facing as we speak. Okay, so car update. What's going on with the car? Some difficulties that I'm having right now. So the car's running extremely rich. I couldn't figure out why. You know, you start the car, it's not in limp mode, thank God, but it's definitely running rich. You just smell fuel. Couldn't figure out why. Started diagnosing and going, through different parts, making sure everything was plugged in, making sure that, everything was just was good. Narrowed it down to the MAF sensor, tried a different MAF sensor, car ran amazing. So I've been trying to source a MAF sensor, which I think is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So the 1JZs, specifically the VVTi models, share the same MAF as a 95 to 97 LS400. It's the 1UZ. I don't know if it's the VVTi or non, but they share the same MAFs as those cars, as well as the SC400s, and there's not a lot of them around anymore, especially like part outs or anything like that, but I'd really like to get one new. So I called the Lexus dealer with the part number, tried to get a good deal on it. Came back, they wanted $1,394. That's very, very close to actually what I paid for with my engine. So I just don't see that happening in any time ever. So I'm going to try to find a used one. I've been calling junkyards, seeing if I can get lucky with one. Doesn't seem like I'm going to. There's a few floating around on eBay, so I'm going to pick those up. Next issue with the car is the clutch. So originally, the last bigger issue, knock on wood, that I got was that the shift fork on the transmission was actually meeting with the pressure plate. That's obviously no good. So me, Julio, and a friend of ours, Jason, we dropped the trans, we pulled the trans out, we refreshed all that stuff, the throwout bearing, slave cylinder, the pivot pin, the retaining clip. We refreshed everything, and then threw the tranny back in, got the car back together, and started trying to bleed it. The next portion was we thought the master cylinder went, because no matter we would build pressure and then it would lose, the pedal would go right to the floor. We realized we were actually trying to use one of those pressure bleeders because I've heard that they work really well. It didn't work worth shit. It sucked. Didn't work. So I thought the master cylinder went, but I remember that when we figured out that the throwout bearing and everything like that was trashed, the master cylinder was working, and it going bad from that point to this point is such a small window. I really don't see it happening. It could, but I guess we'll address that later. I don't see it happening. So the other day we're going to throw the master cylinder back in, and come to find out that the I don't really like locking pin, that's what BMW calls it. It's like this little plastic stake in behind the clutch pedal that holds the spring and everything like that. That had actually snapped off, and I know that's a very common thing. So I was trying to source anyway, a metal one. It doesn't seem like someone makes a metal one. I talked to a few dudes that said that they might be interested in CNC machining it. That never really evolved into anything. Either they told me some outrageous price, and I know CNC is expensive, but it gets to a point of what's worth what. So it just never evolved. I went to the BMW dealership. I had ordered that. I ordered that. I ordered a couple other incontinent shit that goes with it. So that should be here Saturday. If it's not, then it'll be here Monday, and next week the car will be worked on in the clutch situation and everything like that. The MAF sensor, it is a concern for me. It's not the biggest concern for me because I can keep the car idling with the MAF. I can drive with the bad MAF. I mean, not like an event or anything like that, but I can get the car rolling and kind of, do all that stuff with the bad MAF sensor. So really the biggest port right now is the clutch setup and getting the car rolling and moving and taking that next step. Once the car rolls and moves, I can go into finishing up the interior of the car in the way of the hydro and the lines. Tastes like shit. I can get in the way of doing the hydro and the lines and finishing up the little stupid pieces of wiring, and getting everything really back together. This car is going to get carpet. I know some people say that's stupid, but I like it. It's not that heavy, and it makes the car feel a little bit less aggressive, which, I mean, I guess I kind of passed that point of full send it, but we're trying to make it nice. We're trying to make this thing look classy. So that's pretty much like the big update on life and the car and like the struggles I'm having right now with the car. It seems as though everything's fighting me, which is no surprise here, but it seems as though it's kind of coming to an end, hopefully, of like the small stupid issues. So today, what me and Julio are gonna do is, I believe we're gonna. This motherfucker is the grammar police, dog. Like, let me tell you, for a dude that is like not in college and chose not to go to college, he has better grammar than I do, and he makes sure he like enforces it. Like, if I say me and Julio, it's Julio and I. If I say one word incorrectly, he corrects me. It's I guess it's good, depending on how you look at it. But I think what Julio and I are going to do today is we're going to work on his car. We're going to drop his rear subframe, and we're going to make some phone calls and trying to get his car moving at a pace. Figure out what he's really looking forward to doing and where he's looking to go with it. I know there was some talk about a VR. I know there was some talk about doing a full W12. I know there was some talk about a big turbo 1.8. It's kind of all up in the air right now. We've been looking into a right-hand drive conversion. You know, just a whole bunch of different things on paper right now, but nothing solid. So I think once we drop the rear subframe and get the car like down to like the actual like just kind of standing shell, we can make those moves and make some phone calls. And try to get this thing going. So I think that's what we're going to do today. There might be a second video following this video on that, of just Julio going over his car and what his plans are. I don't know if it'll be today. It might be next week. Again, I don't think we know where this is going. So once we know where this is going, we can move from there. If you guys have any questions or any comments of what I can do to provide, I guess, a little bit more interesting content, because I know talking content isn't interesting to most people, but if there's anything I can do to provide more interesting content or something that you guys might want to see, let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. That's, you know, why I'm doing this. I want this to be something that I can share with people and meet new people and do more with myself, my cars, and my friends. So like I said, leave a comment in the video. If you want to see some other content, let me know. If you guys, I don't really necessarily want to do a how-to because I'm not like a mechanic, but if there's something that you guys want me to tell you how I did, leave it in the comments. I'll make a video on it. I want to be very transparent about, you know, my car. I want people to know that like it's not a secret. It's, you know, a 1J BMW and how I did it and what steps I took to doing it. And, you know, if you guys want to see how as a college kid I was able to build this car and still somewhat live, let me know. I'll make that video too. Like I said, I'm a very transparent person. There's nothing that I'm scared of saying, and there's nothing that I'm scared of doing. So, you know, please interact with the channel a little bit more. I know there's very minimal amount of subscribers, but if, you know, people watch and see it, you know, even if you don't subscribe, you know, even as just a passerby, let me know in the comments what I can do to improve the channel. So that's where I think I'm going to end it. Gonna help Julio out a little bit, and I will get back to you guys at a later date. So, peace.